Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. It's Paul here. Welcome once again to the Billowing Hilltop podcast, your once fortnightly critical fumble. You've pressed the wrong button on your phone, and here you are. Sorry about that. For the other four of you, though, we hope you're enjoying the story, the characters, and occasionally Mike's jokes. As always, it really helps us if you rate, review, and subscribe on your podcast app of choice. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or whatever. So, on with the story. What now for our intrepid explorers as they emerge blinking into the light? Let's find out. Please enjoy episode 26. Let's send the knights together.
Winter is at last releasing her grip upon the land. In the Cairn Hills, the snows are melting. Ice water swells the rushing streams. In the high forests, dire bears emerge from slumber. Ospreys have ended their exile and soar above Diamond Lake once more. To the south, in the dismal mist marsh, great reptiles slither into life, and the sedge warblers flock to their spring breeding grounds. But other things stir, wicked things. The hills bear the mark of Chios. There are rumours of undead, packs of ghouls and zombies infested with strange green worms roaming the wilderness. Bands of brigands pushing west from the Newell Mountains, bugbears, ogres, hobgoblins, are preying upon travellers and lonely settlements. In the mist marsh, the lizard folk are on the move, threatening Evenstar's frontier fortresses. What has stirred them to such anger? It is a wilderness of intrigues. Evenstar's reach is great, but there are other forces in play, other schemes, other plots. Many things are not as they appear. What is locked away within Blackwall Keep? What other secrets wait to be discovered by our heroes, and in turn, what secrets are being hidden by our heroes? At the Twilight Monastery, in the last dark before dawn, Izinfen is lost within the censor of symmetry, troubled by what she sees in the stars. In Evenstar, the Zenith Matriarch stares into the fire as the long case clock cuts slices of time. Her face reveals nothing, but she grips the green throne of House Outsplinter a little tighter. What troubles them? Their gaze may be away in the stars, or in the dance of the grey flames, but both hold the same vision in their mind's eye, the bright coin of fate spinning in the air. Which way will misfortune, the Lady Luck, have it land? Will it be ladders, or will it be snakes? The wheel of days turns for the time being. The land awakes. The receding snows reveal things long hidden, things long forgotten. And all the while, in the background, is there another presence? Something looms, something huge, something winged, something evil.
Who's making that noise?
I think that's me. I'm just enjoying watching the wiggly line.
Graham, don't watch the wiggly line. Go back to somewhere else.
It's hypnotic.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm here with Lucas.
Hello.
Who runs Parker the Half-Orc Monk Druid, which is not a popular choice, I should say, with our listenership. Our non-Swedish reader has complained about your character choices, yes. Lucas. We'll come back to that in a minute.
I
Graham,
get my
who runs
notes out.
sessions.
I wrote notes.
You've written. Okay. Graham, who runs sessions. Epa, the halfling trickster cleric of the Lady Luck Misfortune.
Good evening.
Dan, who runs Burple the Bard, the Asimar Bard, who lives in a bin.
Yep.
And Paul, who runs Cuthbert Ouch Splinter.
Hello.
The young swashbuckler.
Hello.
Innocent,
Wouldn't call him
wide-eyed, naive,
Naive.
member of one of Even Star's most notorious crime families. I think there's a car crash waiting to happen there. Oh, and he's got the funny eyes, and he's got the demon thingy. And anyway,
I'm not scaly.
And we have Johnny, who's running nobody because his character got killed.
Oh, yeah, hello.
In the last episode. And we have starting book 3 of The Age of Worms, Encounter at Blackwall Keep, which is written by Sean K. Reynolds. I thought those last section was just going to go on forever. What episode is this?
20
something? 29, 28, 26? 26.
Can't be.
I mean, it's something like that. I mean, that I enjoyed the last book, but it seemed to go on forever.
You put the roper on the edge of a cliff. Not quite sure.
I don't just mean that last combat,
No.
which did go on forever. I mean the whole thing went on forever, like the whole mine, Anyway, I enjoyed it very much. But anyway, we changed tone. Yes, I enjoyed it. We're on to something different. Where were we? Right. Let's just pick up where we are, just to be clear. So at the end of last session, you fled from the caves of Granite Kur, the caves of the Grey Woodsman, through a sort of dark, tight, kind of foresty underpass. Oh, foresty underpassage. That doesn't sound very nice, does it? You can get a
Foresty underpants.
You can get a cream for that. My dad has a mate who went on. Who's a doctor who went to a conference in Japan, and they had one of those smart lavatories with all of the buttons. Yes.
Yes.
And you push them, and it's like it does a wash, and then it does a thing. And he got the sequence wrong, and he pressed the button for soap, which it sprayed all over him, and then he got the button for talc. Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear.
He ended up
Messy.
with this awful paste,
Clumpy.
sort of power injected into his areas. Yeah. Nasty. Anyway, moving swiftly on. You fled from the caverns of the Grey Woodsman, and you emerged in the boneyard, looking down over Diamond Lake.
Is this the first time we're seeing a map of Diamond Lake?
I draw my players' attention to the map. I'm just going to bring
Okay, yeah.
There it is. The Dowerstone mine is about sort of 400, 500 feet to your west. So actually, in escaping, you've moved further away from the centre of town. And that took you about 15, 20 minutes to make that journey from the end of the combat with the Roper and Granite Kur to emerging, mostly because it's kind of difficult ground. The whole thing is difficult ground, and there was a lot of climbing and kind of finding your way in the dark. You emerge out on the weather has changed. It's today, by the way, I'm sure you're all interested, is Asmodee, the 13th of February. And the Wheel of Days turns for the time being.
It's been February for ages.
It's drizzling. There's low cloud coming from the west. Basically, the weather has flipped. The weather was coming from the Newell Mountains, from the northeast, ice, snow. Now the weather is coming from the west, the southwest, coming from the lands that wait, the mysterious, evil lands that lie over the barrier cliffs. And the weather that comes from there is referred to as kind of ill omen weather, because it brings the weather from those lands. But it's a lot warmer. And
how big is the Diamond Lake?
Overall, it's about 2,000, 3,000 feet across. I mean, comfortably less than a mile.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tiny little place. The snow has melted, so everything is just bogged down and slushy. I mean, there's the occasional little patch of
lake.
It's a big lake. So the snow has melted. There are little patches sort of in the hollows of graves and in hollows of the ground. But otherwise, it's a very different kind of atmosphere, literally a different atmosphere as you emerge. Sort of suggestion of sort of low growls of thunder over the western horizon. And you're looking down at town from your vantage point in the boneyard. You can see the next hill over as you look towards town is the hill atop which sits the slightly kind of dreary manor of Leonard Neff, who is Hesty Testapod's brother, but also the governor of Diamond Lake. And you can see that there's a hole in the wall, the picket wall around that manor, that sort of you could draw a line between the entrance of the Dowerstone mine, where you can see sort of miners and people running around looking a little bit kind of agitated. You can draw a line from the Dowerstone mine to Leonard Neff's manor, and you can see a hole in the wall that's been kind of burst open. And you think you can see, I mean, you're a few 100 feet away, but you think you can see a figure leaning out of the top window of Neff Manor, sort of shouting at people below in a state of agitation. And then in town itself, as you emerged, you heard a couple of kind of explosions. And you can see some buildings are on fire. It looks like something is going on in town. Like I said, it's about 15 to 20 minutes since the sort of shuddering, catastrophic event that seems to have been triggered after you killed Gralak Kerr.
So I'm not quite understanding the whole thing that you're talking about. When you say there's a hole in the wall, where can you ping it on the map?
Yeah,
so
there.
Right, so in that part of the wall, which is opposite where the mine is, the closest part to the mine, basically, there's a hole.
There's a hole in that wall.
Does it look like something's fired?
No, it looks like something has burst through it. It looks like...
From the outside or the inside?
Oh, well, that's difficult. I mean, you are a few hundred feet away. The grace of Urt descends upon you, and you gain your new status. And I think we should go through that now. But if you want to spend time, for example, dividing up loot, treasure, so forth, then you will do so as whatever events take place in Diamond Lake run on in the background. That's really what I'm asking. Okay, so why don't we talk about leveling up? Who wants to start?
When we level up, do we get like all our points back and everything, or do we just get the extra ones?
I thought it was just the extra ones. I think.
Right, so we get the extra ones.
Yeah, you just get the extra stuff. Yeah.
It's not normally how it works, but okay.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
No, you don't heal up.
Yeah, understood.
You don't heal up unless you heal up. So
just
whatever state you're in at the moment, which I think is you're in a fairly fragile state, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I think,
still got to heal.
I think we all agreed that we were going to go and visit Mr. Hesty Testy.
We've got some more spells though, so all of a sudden I've got 2 third-level spells.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
Good ones.
Well, let's go round. Who wants to start? Why don't we start with Lucas, because Lucas has prepared a detailed written rebuttal typed out in 3 sheets of legal paper to Luke, our non-Swedish reader, or one of the 2 non-Swedish readers, who has complained about your character choices. Lucas, shall we?
Well, I wouldn't call it complaining. I mean, I did get the impression that they're a sort of companion group, and they're interested in, discussing rules in the same way as we are, really. So, I mean, I thought it was a very good suggestion and discussion point.
I feel I need to criticise you for multi-classing to Druid. I don't think I could get it clearer than that.
Okay. I mean, he did go on to say that he was like totally into monks, and we agreed that we both found the monk class cool.
He does it in the weekend is his own business.
So, I mean, okay, but just for the benefit of somebody who hasn't read that tweet, his idea was...
Nobody's read the tweet, Lucas.
Right. So he basically said, because the quarterstaff is a versatile weapon, you can use it two-handed. And if you use it two-handed, then it does 1d8 instead of 1d6. And the unarmed strike doesn't need to be a fist. It can also be a kick or a headbutt or whatever. So his argument was there's no need for the shillelagh, and therefore there's no need for a level of druid. You might as well just concentrate on being monk.
That's nicely summarized.
Right. So, but then Mike.
I mean, it was. Let's face it. It was a long. Yeah. It was a long and detailed thread.
Yes.
From this.
So my counter argument is that what taking a level in druid does is that it wasn't only just the shillelagh, but it also gave you the produce flame as a cantrip, which is a very useful range weapon. And if you remember, in that last encounter, the produce flame was very useful against twiglets.
Yeah.
I also got a heal, which for the monk, given that he's actually an active fighter but has less hit points, was also quite useful. And Long Strider, which basically increases your speed, which was also useful in a couple of encounters we've had. And also the shillelagh is a magic weapon, which you don't get as a monk until you're 6th level. So you have to sort of balance that against...
So frankly, Luke can fuck off. Is that basically what you're saying?
No, well, hold on. I'm not finished
that's fine.
I'm
fine.
I'm only 2/3 of the way through my notes.
The atmosphere on Twitter. The atmosphere on Twitter is just increasingly...
Stop interrupting. Let him get to the end.
You see, the thing is here. I understand, Mike. You're trying to engender a story. Objection. You're trying to get a story here. No, it's been
I think Mike has nothing prepared, so he's just trying to get us to argue for a while.
Precisely.
I've got absolutely loads of unprepared notes.
Yeah. So anyway, the opposite of the not going for the monk does, of course, mean that in this situation, I would now be a 5th level monk instead of a 4th level monk. And that last encounter, that would have meant at 4th level, I would have had the slow fall, which of course would have been interesting because it would have meant I could have dropped down from the roper. But we sort of got through that. You also get additional ability score. So I could have basically taken Constitution a level earlier, got some more hit points, and I have to wait until next level to get the extra attack. So it's a bit sort of, I see it as swings and roundabouts. Ultimately, the discussion that we did have came to the conclusion, I still think, I think that the 5e monk is very good. I like, with the key points and everything, I think it's quite a balanced class and you get quite a lot. And in fact, the next 2 or 3 levels of monk, there's some really, really good stuff that sort of kicks in, with like the magic weapon, and you get an extra attack. So you suddenly start getting into a monk, you can get 4 or 5 attacks in a round with flurry of blows and things.
So for leveling up, what have you decided?
So anyway, for leveling up, definitely going for another level of monk. There is no benefit to more levels of druid unless you are the only way.
Wild shape.
Yeah, but wild shape at the 2nd level druid, it's still crap. You can turn into like a wolf or something, and it doesn't,
into a bee.
Yeah, it's not, if you could wild shape, I think like a 4th or 5th level druid where you can start wild shaping to seriously good creatures, that would be worth it. But then that's 3 levels of druid you've got to take before you get there. So just the payback isn't really worth it. And especially with the monk, what you get afterwards is all these disciples choices. And there's some very good stuff coming in there. We had in the last encounter where you're able to manipulate the air in front of you and that kind of thing. All those kind of sort of key point uses, those are quite good.
Oh, the fisting power. Yeah. The stunning fist power.
Elemental disciplines.
Anyway, let's move on.
Anyway, to add a final word, thank you to Luke for getting engaged with us. I think that's quite good, and it was a good discussion. That's the kind of thing we want, isn't it?
I think you'll regret it forever. We'll move on to let's move on to Graham. Graham, what's happening with Sessions?
Well, Sessions also decided not to take levels in druid or monk.
Really? Are you sure? I think Lucas would love to.
And instead decided to specialise as a cleric.
Right.
So
what'd you get?
I get more spells. So I got some interesting new 3rd level spells to take.
And what are they?
Now you're going to test my memory. So I took Now You See It, Now You Don't, which is Blink. I took Never Tell Me the Odds, which is Spirit Guardians. Tumbling Dice, which is my new cantrip.
The raining. What does that do?
Well, it's kind of like Toll the Dead, but it's a variant.
Toll the Dead, which basically does damage.
Yeah, it does damage.
Toll the Dying.
Dying. Oh, yeah, no, it's actually Toll the Dead. I keep saying Toll the Dying, but it's now called...
Yeah, it's Toll the Dead. I keep forgetting as well. It's the same thing.
Anyhow, this new...
you get some more hit points?
Yep. Some more hit points. I think I can destroy small undead, and that's about it, really.
Lovely. What about Burple?
Well, Burple's really interesting. So I took a level in Bard.
Did you not consider, just briefly, Dan, taking a level, the advantage of taking a level in Monk?
Well, I did. I thought, I was thinking Druid, actually. But
yeah. Oh. Yeah, maybe we should.
Well, let's.
Which is
so
which is the
basically-
which is the better of those
Yeah,
two
well,
classes?
look, if I took a level in Druid, right, so I would get Shillelagh, and then I would basically get some kind of fire spell. I forget the name of.
But the thing with the Shillelagh, though, Dan, is that you get the D8 just by using because it's a versatile weapon.
Yes.
You can use it two-handed. You get the D8 anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So
maybe
against that, as a 5th level bard, I get 2 3rd-level spells.
Nice.
So the bard has been a bit crap actually, and I think that's largely because of the spells that I chose. So I think what I'll do is
Kill Paul.
Kill Paul. Yeah. So
That wasn't me.
So as
Who was that?
Celestial Legacy, I
Yes,
get
it
a daylight
It wasn't.
spell,
It was Johnny.
and then on top of that, I get Lemon's Tiny Hut.
Lemon what?
Lemon's Tiny Hut, or
Lemon's Tiny
the
Hut.
Lemon's
Okay.
tiny Hut, which is an immobile dome of force. So that's
what you
probably
get.
going to be quite useful. Daylight,
Yeah.
don't know. I get that as a Celestial, so that might be quite useful.
Asimar or Celestial? I can never remember.
Well, an Azimar has a
Yeah,
Celestial.
you're an Asimar, which means you've got Celestial
Heritage,
whatever
yeah.
it is. Heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And then I think I swapped out a spell. I think, or maybe I didn't actually. Maybe I left them as they were. Yeah, I did. Oh, I got Whole Person. I swapped in Whole Person.
Very nice. And you get some hit points, and that's
Get
basically
some
it.
hit points. I also get to
No bardy stuff.
Well, I get to my bardic inspiration becomes a D8, but I mostly use it to do damage on. I can use up an instance of it, so I'm not going to
Really?
get an advantage from that.
I have,
but
I
it
can't remember.
refreshes.
I can't remember what it does.
What is
It
Bardic
refreshes.
Inspiration? Remind
I
us.
honestly can't
Well, I
remember.
never
Is that
use
the one where I'm not allowed to tell you whether or not you succeed?
It gives you pluses on saves and ability checks, etc., etc.
That one. Okay, cool.
But I never use it. What I
No.
do is that instead I can use one of my bardic inspiration to add 2d6 force damage. I think to my attacks.
yes,
So I
yes.
use it like that
Yes.
instead. So 3 times I can do that. But I now get it now refreshes after a short rest instead of just a long rest. So it refreshes after.
Oh,
But that's quite interesting.
you said it was shit.
Well, I said it was quite interesting, but that's only useful if other people are ready to go.
It's different, isn't it?
If other people are ready to go after a short rest, so a lot of the
Yeah,
time it's
but
just like, well,
that's-
Paul is like, well, no, I've got no spells left and I need a long rest. It's like,
Paul's running a fighter thief.
Wrong game.
Fighter rogue.
Thinking wrong game.
Wrong
Yeah,
game.
think we're all
Wrong
right.
game, mate.
Yeah.
Oops,
Wrong game, mate. Yeah. Classic mistake.
Confused.
Wrong game. Yeah.
I've broken the fourth
That's
wall.
what you think. I mean, it's not. It's. I mean, it's bad for you, but it's even worse for Johnny, who thought he was DMing this evening and had to leave. Let's talk about the heterochromatic, demon-blooded, scaly disaster that is Cuthbert Ouchsplinter.
Cuthbert took a 3rd level of rogue, so he's 3rd rogue, 2nd fighter. He's got a class special ability now as an assassin.
This is where I've got myself into trouble, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's only
Yeah.
if he gets it's only at the start of a combat, and
So,
I'm not sure it's that killer, but
Advantage
to
on
kick
attack
off,
rolls
maybe.
against creatures that haven't taken a turn. And any hit is a critical hit. Plus, I get sneak attacks gone up to 2d6.
So if you act before anybody you act before in a combat,
yeah,
you attack at advantage, you automatically critical, and on top of the critical damage, irrespective of any jiggery-pokery with critical cards, you also add an extra 2d6.
Hold on, if you automatically critical,
Only on.
No, it's too late, Lucas. It's too late. You can't take a level of...
I was thinking about taking level
no, I
of
just want to
druid.
know why if you automatically
a
critical,
level of druid, Paul.
Yeah.
what does it difference does it make you're attacking at advantage?
No, because of the damage.
Because any hit is considered a
Ah,
critical.
okay.
Not any
So you
attack.
still have
any
to
hit.
hit.
You
Right.
still have to hit.
Yeah, you still have to hit. Yeah, it's not that good. Imagine.
Jesus.
Yeah, well, precisely.
Yeah.
I'm just going to shut my eyes and swing wildly like I normally do. And oh, look, it's critical.
Again, what you do at the weekend is none of our business.
Swing wildly with my eyes shut.
oh,
Yeah, Pampas Grass.
It is, sorry.
Right,
critical.
let's move on.
Sorry, on a critical, all dice are
yeah.
doubled, right? And now you've got 2d6 sneak attack, so you basically get.
No, I think you only... Do you double...
Sneak
Do you,
attack damage doesn't
Graham
double.
will know. Do you double
Pretty sure about that. But
precision damage?
Nope, I don't think you do.
You just double the
Cool.
dice damage.
So, well, I don't know that 5th level is not turned out to be quite an I mean, 5th level was always for me old school D&D. It's the level where the wizard gets fireball, yeah, and everything kind of slightly kicks off. And I don't know that we're not miles off that. It sounds quite well. Cuthbert's
loving this.
It's a step change of lethality.
Yeah.
Burple sounds like he's got loads and loads of new stuff, and that extra damage thing and the short rest thing is a big deal. I'm still not 100% certain what Lucas has done, but I don't dare go back into it. And then Sessions has got some scary sounding spells. That's good. Now, what would you like to do in this fictional world that we are pretending to?
Well, I think we will
divide up the magic.
Well, yes.
Are you literally going to see a battle going on in the heart of?
I mean, it's not going to take long.
Your hometown, and be like, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
let's talk about this while we walk, right? So if we can start walking somewhere, moving somewhere, it's going to take us time, and we can then have time to talk, to have some conversation.
You think
about
that it's? I had a quick check on this in advance so that we didn't have too many arguments. Sprinting, like properly flat out sprinting, is not something you can do for very long. In fact, not something you can do for materially long in this instance. There are rules on chases in the DM's guide, and basically you can take the dash action only X number of times before you have to make a Constitution saving throw or pick up a level of exhaustion, right? I think that if you kind of hustle into town, it's going to take you about 5 or 6 minutes to get to the center of town. What I'm talking about there is with all your gear, all of your stuff, going at a sort of about 5-6 miles an hour, which is a sort of kind of middle-aged jogging pace.
Where is Hesty's house?
Hesty's house is off out to the right as you're looking at town. Hesty's house is slightly out to the north of town, up the slope away from the centre, but tolerably central. If you walk, it's going to take you 10 to 15 minutes to get into the centre of town.
And what about that? And so what are the alternatives? Are there any horses anywhere? What's 35?
Well, what's wrong with 50? I mean,
15
15 minutes is fine. I mean,
I think that we're oddly.
But I think we should go to Hesty's house first.
Well, there's something going on. We need to find out where the epicenter is.
But I think we need to find out what Hesty's view is on it. I mean, presumably, he may have a view, and also telling Hesty what everything we learnt in the mine may be useful for Hesty advising us as to what we should be doing.
I suspect the stuff going in the town. The stuff going on in the town, and that's what
you
this
can
is.
see. A wall's been knocked down in between the Dowerstone mine and town. You can't see the other side of that compound. What you can see is buildings on fire in the centre of town, and you can hear explosions. Yeah. So you're. That's. I mean, pretty much.
We don't want to run just right into the thick of that without having a rough idea about what's going on, because otherwise we'll.
Well, you haven't got many hit points for starters.
So we're going to have
just
to move into town.
Break in a sec for Paul. Mm-hmm. You do roll your sneak attack damage twice.
Shit, does he?
Pardon my mistake. Just posted it in the.
So let's say I hit with a short sword, which is 1d6 plus 4. I would roll 1d6 twice, add the plus 4, and 2d6 twice.
Yes.
So you'd roll 66 plus 4 damage.
If the attack involves other damage dice, such as from the rogue sneak attack feature, you roll these dice twice as well.
You roll 66. So you attack at advantage, and if you hit, you roll 66.
That's what
on
the
short sword
is.
And is the same true of a ranged weapon? I have a horrible feeling that it is.
You're never going to be gambling again.
And the rapier would.
No, you'll never gamble again. Actually, that's a really nicely. As it turns out, accidentally, we stumbled across a really nicely balanced rule there. Because as you get higher level and you get cooler stuff that you do on a critical, you've got less incentive to gamble.
Yeah.
And the rapier will be 68.
No, it would be 2d8 and 4d6.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, 2d8 and 46. Yeah.
Even so, that's not.
That's not.
That's not insignificant.
Lovely.
Yeah. So you've got a decision to make. You're standing in the boneyard. You're looking down at the town. Clearly, there's some kind of something has broken the wall down in between the Dowerstone mine and town. Maybe you're looking at the evidence of something hurtling into town, and you can see a battle or hear the evidence of a battle taking place in town. What would you like to do?
We need to head towards that battle.
Yeah, but on the way, we should stop at Hesty's.
Hesty's isn't on the way.
I think on the way, we should just
on
agree
the way.
how to divvy up the stuff we've got.
Yeah,
We've
exactly.
got 5 minutes as we walk along.
Got 15 minutes.
Mike,
Take about 15 minutes. If you take about 15 minutes if you walk.
So I've drawn the line. I think we should go down the hill onto this path that goes to the north of the
Why are you
north
so
of the Neff
fixated on
Manor, and then
going to
go down
him?
there to Hestes, and then we can go from Hestes. We can go then into town.
Is that what you want to do?
That would be my suggestion.
I've
rather
always.
than going
Are you
down.
running or walking?
It's not a bad
Yep.
idea, actually. It's not a bad idea.
Let's
Do that.
Let's
Not just a pretty
run to
face.
Hestes. Let's run to Hestes.
Yeah. Well,
Let's run to Hestes.
Run to Hestes.
Let's run to Hestes.
Let's all
And
run
it's-
to Hestes.
Run to Hestes in his marvellous test.
It's ages since anybody's run to Hestley. I mean, Hesty.
Hestes.
Anyway. Hestley, Pestly, Todd.
Hesty pesty.
Right, that's what we're doing,
and his
mate.
Testopods.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's Johnny got, and what else have we got? Paul, you were keeping a record.
Yeah. And what did you pick up, Dan?
I didn't pick up anything. Oh no, I got a backpack and a rope.
Yeah, no, I've got nothing. I've got nothing written for a while. So this will all be
Yeah, you haven't got much. You haven't got much. The treasure that you got up to the point that after you had cleared out those rooms to the north, where you think you killed, I can't do it. Slade. Is it Slade or Slew, Dan? We've had this discussion before. Killed. Anyway, killed the faceless one. Everything up to that point you have handed out.
Yeah, we've allocated everything.
The only things that the only loot that you've discovered subsequently is the backpack, and you think a very nicely made, possibly magical coil of rope that Burple found amongst the effects of Gralak Kur.
Yeah, and just for the record, I contest those are mine.
The other thing is that backpack has got Grimbold's body in it.
Well, I contest that Grimbold bequeathed all of his stuff to his cousin.
I mean,
where's
that
your
could spend
evidence?
Forever. That's
I'm
like
sure I can
Jarndyce
produce
versus
it.
Jarndyce. Let's spend years in Chancery. I can tell you what Grimbold has got on him.
Go on then.
Grimbold has got the following effects. First of all, he's got a +1 short sword, in brackets, loaned to Cuthbert.
Is that the short sword of the East Wind?
Yeah.
I think it's the +1 short sword of the East Wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a rod of meta magic. 3 times a day you can use it to extend a spell. That effectively doubles the duration of a spell if you use it.
Yeah.
He has a silver pipe and a little tobacco pouch. You think that there are 5 refills of the pipe in the pouch, and you've not seen this pipe before, apart from when he desperately withdrew it and used it in his what turned out to be futile struggle with the roper. He's got a +1 dagger. He's got 120 gold pieces in cash, and then he's got a load of adventuring gear. I'm looking at his list of adventuring gear: backpack, crossbow bolts, crowbar, yeah,
I've got a backpack. too.
hammer, and then the next one, land vehicles, which I suspect is an error. Python, rations, rope, tinderbox, torch, water skin. That's what he's got. So he's got all that crap.
Land
which I'm
vehicles.
not sure that you're interested. But the land vehicles, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it would certainly speed up the journey into town.
could be a wheelbarrow. It's a
Wait,
land
no,
vehicle.
Aristo.
Yeah. Anyway, or a pretend barrow, because this is a fantasy role-playing game. What do you want to do?
Roll for choice.
Okay, I'm going to step away for 2 minutes while you argue.
While we argue. Okay, so I found them.
Yeah.
So when Johnny went into the pool and found a sword, he kept
he managed
the sword
to do
for
that without
himself.
us knowing.
Well, so did you. I seem to remember.
Yes. For the non-magical ring.
It doesn't matter that it was non-magical. You kept it for yourself.
Oh, no, I didn't even remember I'd kept it for myself. You guys told me I had it.
Yes, that was very funny.
So
However, we know that you picked them up because we can see it.
yes, but I found them.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. I found
No, it
them.
doesn't.
Therefore, they are mine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I don't, if you're contesting, the precedent has been set.
No, it
You,
hasn't.
you
does the
and
silver
Johnny
pipe
both have sort
Good
of
try.
thought, well, I found it, but therefore it's mine. So
I
these
never
are
agreed with
mine.
Johnny.
Sorry.
Never agreed with that principle.
Well, you acted on it.
I will.
There's no
offer
evidence that I did.
I'm going to offer a deal here.
Yeah. What's the
That
deal?
I-
Dan,
get-
you're never going to win a semantic argument with Graham. That just doesn't. It's not even worth bothering.
My offer is that I get to keep the +1 short sword, and I step away from anything else.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, that may or may not happen. I think there are. How many of us are there?
Well, I don't mind giving up the short sword. I've got
What does the
backpack and
silver
a
pipe
rope.
do?
I think that'll do.
No idea.
Yeah. Well,
Is it a
I'll be
blowpipe?
taking. No, I think it heals. I think it's got 5 doses of some sort of healing.
So,
Roll
are
for
we in
choice.
agreement that if I take the +1 short sword of the Eastwind,
No.
No.
considering the large amounts of damage I can do with it now?
Are we going to come to blows, Graham?
No.
Is that
No.
what's going to happen?
No. I'll just turn off the healing tap.
I have a healing tap of my own.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just use my own.
So what are we doing?
Waiting for Mike.
No, he's not going to get involved in this conversation.
Oh, I see. So we have to deal with the
I mean,
magic.
it's the magic divvy. He's not going to get involved.
Yeah. Okay. So just so we're clear, then,
Mhm.
all magic that is found, even if you find it by yourself, or if there's a room with a magic thing in it, and you're the person that went to get it, is always rolled for. Is that correct? Is
I
is
believe
everyone
that-
happy with that?
Yeah.
Where are we up to?
Don't go away again.
No, I can't go away. I've got to be here to check on the Discord feed and all the other
Just
shit.
Graham,
we're still in
Graham,
the
I want to
conversation.
hear it from you.
Yeah.
That you agree with that, because it'll go on the record.
There's been no magic that I've had taken that everyone else hasn't rolled for.
But
So-
you
wait a
didn't
minute.
know it wasn't magic. You thought
that's
it was
irrelevant.
magic. It's not irrelevant.
So-
it's not irrelevant. Okay,
We're-
so
No,
I'm
I
going to-
agree. I think we should all follow the same rules.
Whether it's magic or not, all spoils.
Every time you qualify it, you make it worse. It's like we should. So what does
No,
that
we
mean?
should all roll for
Immediately, I'm
magic. There
thinking,
you go, Dan.
as long as
We
we
should
all
always
follow
all
the same
roll.
rules, I'm like, oh, what does he mean by that? What is he trying to trick me?
All spoils are always rolled for.
Rolled for, and I think there should be. I quite liked the magic item cap that you count magic items and you basically put them back or otherwise. You have a ceiling.
Except for gold cash, which is distributed equally.
Yes. Oh, everyone in favour. Johnny's very
Aye.
quiet.
He's not
Johnny left the call about
Did he?
half an hour ago.
because he didn't want to hear us picking over Grimbeld's body.
Lucas?
I have to say I've lost the plot, so do whatever you want, really.
All spoils are always rolled for, except for cash, which is distributed equally.
Right. Well, yeah, but that's what we've always played, isn't it?
No. It changes every time we start a new dungeon. The rules kind of somehow get
No, but they
forgotten.
always come back to this one.
Yeah.
They always come back to this one.
Yeah. Okay. All right,
Okay.
let's roll.
But we're allowed to barter.
Yeah. So I'll put them back in, but I should get a +2 on my roll
If everybody agrees.
on a
That's-
d20. It's better specify that. We roll on percentage. All right. So
percentile
rather than
dice.
a 2, yeah, a 10%. I get an extra 10% on my
Dan,
roll.
I'll agree to that if you agree to me just retaining the +1 short sword.
And the fact that because I inherited all of Grimbold's stuff, I should get plus 50%.
I'll agree to that.
You didn't inherit it, no.
I did.
I'll
He's
agree
my
to
cousin.
that if I can keep the short sword.
Okay, well, I'll agree to that if I can keep the backpack and the rope.
Straight rolls.
So what are you doing?
Graham, 10%. It's my final offer.
Straight rolls.
You know, I always roll badly. Okay, so
So
we
do
have
I.
the,
I've got shit.
You've got shit. Well, do that now before we get into another argument.
All right, go on then. You go first.
What are we
Percentile?
rolling? Percentile?
Percentile. Go on, Graham. You go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. Oh, for God's sake.
96.
It's like daylight robbery. Just have the shirt off my back in a second.
Who was that? Who was that? Who was that
17.
roll?
Lucas.
Gone
That's
down.
Lucas 17. Okay.
Okay. Well, no, you go.
All right, okay. 29.
Nine. You're in second place at the moment. And I get
21.
Fuck's sake.
Brilliant. So,
Okay. So
Is it
Graham,
just
what do
the
you
four
want?
of us? Yeah, Graham.
Yeah, now you made me choose. Hang on.
Can you use the meta magic rod?
Well, that was the question I was asking, thinking to myself. I don't know.
do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Do you want the answer? Okay. Let me have a look. I'm thinking it might be arcane only, but I'm more than happy for it not to be.
I think it might be 2.
I don't see anything in what I'm looking at which says that you can't. You can use a metamagic rod.
And it's extend, is it?
It's extend. It has 3 charges per day.
So it makes it last longer.
Yeah, it doubles the duration of a spell.
I will take the metamagic rod then.
Cool. Excellent.
What spells have you got, Graham?
I will.
Next, it's Cuthbert.
Oh god, I'm so tempted to take something else and just no. I will retain the short sword.
Okay, we move on to
This rope.
Burple.
This rope, what does it do?
It's a rope of climbing, 60 feet.
So what do? You just attune to it, and you go, and it
Do you
goes
know if you have
vertically
to
up.
attune to it? Give me a second. I can tell you. I'll give you the. I've got it all in my. I've got it all in my
Encyclopedia.
magic thing.
During which Diamond Lake burns to the ground.
And we're walking.
Yeah, no, this is fine.
We're walking.
That's half the fun.
This is a conversation we're having while we walk.
Okay.
No, we're walking along the path discussing this on the way to
walking in the
Yeah, you're just sort of just tootling into town, arguing about how to distribute the magic. And as you approach town, you can hear and screams and shouts.
Brilliant.
The rope of climbing is it's a 60-foot length of silk rope. It weighs 3 pounds, can hold up to 3,000 pounds. If you hold one end of the rope and you use an action to speak the command word, the rope animates. As a bonus action, you can command the other end to move towards a destination you choose. It moves 10 feet on your turn when you first command it, and 10 feet on each of your turns until reaching its destination, up to its maximum length away, or until you tell it to stop. Yep.
Nice.
You can also tell the rope to fasten itself securely to an object, or to unfasten itself, to knot or unknot itself, or to coil itself for carrying.
I'll take the rope.
I don't think it is.
It's awesome.
Doesn't require attunement,
Nice.
so far as I can see.
It's amazing to be okay with that.
Yep. I'll take that.
All right.
If you tell the rope to knot, large knots appear at 1 foot intervals along the rope, while knotted the rope shortens to a 50-foot length and grants advantage on checks made to climb it. I mean, basically, it's a great piece of kit.
So what does this silver pipe thing do?
It's called the pipe of sustaining smoke. Smoking this pipe when loaded with normal tobacco leaf heals 1d8 hit points. The pipe can only heal one creature once per day. That's it. So you don't need to have
What are the
magic.
5 doses?
You've got 5 doses of... It's not doses, it's just... alongside the pipe, Grimbold found a pouch with tobacco in it. There are 5 fills of the pipe left, but it's just normal tobacco.
Then there's +1 dagger,
That's right. And there's the backpack,
which is just a backpack.
it's bag of holding,
The
isn't it?
backpack is definitely magical.
Oh, is
yeah.
it?
Evard's.
Yeah. It's
thingy.
Heward's handy haversack.
Heward's handy haversack. That's right.
It's a backpack that has a central pouch and 2 side pouches, each of which is in an extra dimensional space. Each side pouch can hold up to 20 pounds of material, not exceeding a volume of 2 cubic feet. Yeah. The large central pouch can hold up to 8 cubic feet or 80 pounds of material. Currently, it's holding Grimbold. The backpack always weighs 5 pounds, regardless of its contents. And then there's a bunch of rules about putting stuff in it, pulling stuff out of it.
So it's a
When
bag
you
of
reach
holding,
into the-
basically.
Yes, when you reach into the haversack for a specific item, the item is always magically on top. I'm not sure what the rule consequence of that would be, but I think I would say that was a free interaction with an object to retrieve rather than using an action to retrieve.
So Lucas's
Love it.
choice
I'll have that
is
then.
you're going to have that.
I'll have that.
Okay.
Graham, you got the silver pipe, the +1 dagger.
I'll take the silver pipe.
Okay. And then we've got the +1 dagger goes to...
I'll take the +1 dagger.
Are we done?
Then we're done.
120
What's the
GP.
silver pipe do?
It's
The silver
1d8
pipe.
hit points once per day.
Once per day, you can
Oh,
heal
okay.
1d8 hit points, as long as you have some regular tobacco to put in it to smoke. It's an action to light and smoke the tobacco.
This is 1d8 hit of hit points. And then we'll
It's a
distribute.
useful little clutch, little item for the occasional thing. Maybe not great for a cleric, but hey.
And then we've got 30 GP each.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say that conversation has taken you as far as Hesty's house.
Okay.
Yes?
Yep.
By the way, did
Which
we
is-
escape with the orrery? Ossuary?
You did. Yeah.
I have it.
Yes. Ah.
That's about just over a foot across, maybe 2 feet across. And overall, including all the mechanisms and stuff, it's about 8 to 9 inches high, in the sense that it's got little stands with little planets on it that will spin round each other in a kind of clockwork mechanism. It's broken, though. Remember, you found some bits that look like they might be to do with it, which I think you collected with it. But that's it. As you near Hesty's house, you're walking down the old company road, which is the road that leads up to the Whispering Cairn, where we started all of this shenanigans. You get a better look at the Neff mansion, Neff Manor. There's another hole in the wall directly in line between the Dowerstone mine and the centre of town. It looks like whatever it is that's knocked the wall down has just run through the Neff Manor. There is some damage to the buildings, and you can clearly see as you walk past the end of the little lane that runs down to Neff Manor, you can see Leonard Neff leaning out of an upper window, clearly in a state of distress, terrified distress, shouting at his little underlings. You've always got the sense, you've never met him, you only hear about him sort of secondhand, but you've always had the sense that he's a bit of a craven little character, Leonard Neff. You take a quick jink to the right, a spur to the right, and then you take a left and cut across the gardens and the kind of open ground at the back of Hesty's house. Hesty's house is as wonderful as always, even though the weather is ill-omened weather, blowing in from the lands that wait, drizzly, warm, thundery. Maybe the weather has got a touch of the sort of first taste of spring in it, mid-February, mid-February.
Nearly.
But his little garden, it's spring already, as always. But aside from a sort of weird little bit of singing that you can hear from inside that it, shuts up the moment that you kind of cross the picket fence and into the garden, it looks like the house is empty and the front door is open.
Did we meet anybody on the way?
No. If you do, they're kind of miners either rushing into town or out of town in a state of some distress. But then they can't tell you anything about what's going on. They just know that something awful is going on.
Okay, in which case, let's keep going. Are we going to bury Grimbold, by the way?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we find an appropriate place to do it?
Weren't we up there?
Yeah, we could have buried him in the cemetery.
Should have buried him in the cemetery
I don't
while we
know.
were there.
I mean, is there anywhere like?
Well, you didn't do that. So he's in the haversack still.
It's an haversack. Is
Well,
there
Lucas has
like
got
anywhere
him
that has small holding that has like where they keep
Why don't
pigs
you?
or
Is
something
this
like that?
you're literally going to do this now before you find out what's going on?
No,
in
that's
town?
fine.
No,
We've got him in
we're
the
gonna-
Harrier
we're gonna-
attack, so let's keep him. We'll bury him as soon as we get the chance.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to knock on Hesty's open door and see who's there. Do the hello.
Can
Okay, well, let's
I
just
just
wait
say,
and see.
please, we still need hit points.
This is true.
Yep, you do.
Graham, what healing have you got?
Moi.
So I was all out of spells. I've got 2 spells now. I've got 2 third level spells, having gone up a level.
Well, I have first level spells. I have 3. Third level spells. I have 2.
Anyone else got any healing?
Yeah,
I've
so I
got
can
one.
do
Lucas, what have you
cure
got?
wounds. How wounded are people?
Half.
I'm on.
How many
wounded.
remaining?
I'm on 11.
I've got
on
23 remaining.
Now, I've got 2 third level spells, so they could be cures. They could be 3d8 plus 3 cures.
Yeah.
Or they could be invisibility on 2 people.
So that's what I was trying to figure out. How wounded? So how many of you got Parker? How many hit points does Parker have left?
I've only got 7 left.
7 left.
Yeah, we're not
Okay.
really in a fit state to.
How many left does Cuthbert have?
Cuthbert's got 23 left.
Okay.
Out of-
And how many does Burple have?
11 out of 33.
So
We're on under half as a party.
What have you got? What does a third level look like, Graham?
cure.
Yeah.
I suppose it looks like 3d8 plus.
So you haven't got any sort of range ones, mass ones?
No. I have the range one, healing word, but that's lower power. I don't have mass ones.
Okay. Well, I've got...
I wonder why I don't have mass ones. Probably because I might not.
Yeah, healing. What's it called? That one? Isn't it something that comes along with? I think if you take the life
Yeah, it probably does.
domain, that gives you a use of your channel divinity, which extends your healing spells out to multiple people.
Yeah, you can do mass healing word at 3rd level, but it's still only a D4. It's rubbish. Yeah, my healing is all touch.
Okay. So you've got 2 potentially, and I've got 2 potentially.
3rd levels. I've got 3 first levels as well.
Yeah, okay. And what about...
I
I've got
presume the
1
pipe is
cure
once a day
wounds.
in total, not once a day per person.
I'm minded to allow it to be once per day per person. I think one person, each person, can only benefit from the pipe once per day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got a problem with that.
So as long as we can buy some more tobacco, that's
It's not in the middle of the great tobacco crisis.
yeah.
Cuthbert doesn't smoke.
Wow.
You could vape.
That's the problem. If you don't smoke, you don't get the good stuff.
So, Paul, you haven't got any healing? Have you got any healing?
Well,
Lucas,
doesn't
you must
have any
some
healing, so I will
Doesn't
do
No,
a
I've
cure
got one
wound.
cure wounds. I've got one cure wounds for 1d8 plus 2. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Are you sure you don't get your hit points back after delivering up?
Well, that was the
No.
ruling that Mike just made. So
Yes.
yes,
Yeah,
we
I'll
are
look.
sure.
I thought you did.
We could take a short rest. Why don't we just take a short rest?
That's an hour.
We haven't got an hour.
I
From
think
where
first
you're
of all we need
standing-
to see what's happening in Hesty's house.
You're only about 500 feet away from the action now. Let's just presume that you've got to Hesty's house.
Yeah.
You've had a quick look around. There's nobody there. The front door is open. Yep. You're thinking, what are we going to do next?
So when we
He's
call
he's
in
run off into town.
And
He's
say,
run off into town
Hesty,
to try and help.
whatever. There's nothing. But
There's
you
nothing,
said there was
nothing.
some whispering or
No,
some.
there was some singing going on
Yeah.
that you could dimly hear from coming inside the house.
Yeah.
But as
stopped.
soon as you kind of cross the picket fence into the garden, it stops abruptly. You can be having a conversation about your state of health and how you might heal, and at the same time, other members of the group could be having a look into town to see if they could see a bit more about what's going on. Give me some perception checks. Oh, what's that?
An 18 for 20 perception.
Lovely,
Purple gets a 19.
very nice.
Cuthbert gets
Okay.
11.
I've heard enough. What
she
you can
gets
see,
15.
looking down the slope into the centre of town, is that where the centre of the action seems to be is just a little bit to the southwest of the main square in Balabar Smenk's house. Something is going on there. There's the house is on fire, for starters. People are fleeing the property, and you see as you're looking down, there are a couple of figures. One of them is a small little raggedy figure that seems to be keeping at a bit of a distance and pinging shots from a longbow into something that you can't see. Yep. The other figure is taller, and you think it might be Hesty. And as you're watching down, Hesty levels something at an area behind the Smenk house that you can't see, and zaps it with some kind of, I don't know, is it a lightning bolt, some kind of energy spell? That's what you can see as you're looking down.
Well, I think we better get down there then.
Are you healing up? You
I'm
doing
going to
it?
have to. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Graham, I suggest you do one on Lucas, and I'll do one on myself.
We're in a weird
Okay.
rules zone here, right?
Can
Because
we have a smoke of the pipe as well?
I don't think that's appropriate at the moment, Lucas.
So the thing is, Mike, that I don't think that that leveling up normally works like that. It's normally
What do you mean?
but normally you have to spend time reflecting on your adventures and what you've learned.
Yeah,
and
fuck it. I
practicing
can do what
with
I
it.
want.
Yeah. So you basically, because we've changed the rule, which I like, it should be a sort of represent a gradual progression.
Yeah,
Basically, you have this sort of weird kind of rules thing where we don't. It's a kind of house rule, right? That we do it like this, and therefore we had to introduce. I think historically, what we did was we would say you get all your hit points back. It's like you're reset as you go up a level, regardless of the realism of that.
Eh?
That's the way
No,
we
no,
used
no.
to play it. That's the way we used to play it. That
Okay,
basically,
well, so the way that we play it, the way that we should play it is that you take a long rest and
Yes.
you level up.
Yes.
The way that we've played it in this instance, because there was a pressing requirement, or there was the clock was running, is that I thought it would be unwise to place you in a situation where you had to decide whether or not to go up a level or whether or not to intervene in what was going on in the town, because I know what you would have done. In this instance, therefore, Urt has granted you the powers of the next level.
Okay.
You don't get to reset your hit points or heal up or anything like that. You just get what you get for going up a level. Right.
So I'm going to
That's-
do a cure wounds on myself, 3rd level.
Yep. Cool. The weird little rules pocket we're in, by the way, is that it takes you
15.
It's taking you 15 minutes to get into town. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes is 150 combat rounds. And 150 combat rounds is basically the entire Vietnam War in terms of activity. It's an odd artifact of the rules that the combat rounds and the exploration phase or whatever phase and the combat phase, they don't interact very well with each other. But there we go.
No.
It's something that is probably it's just a problem for the time being. You pass the pipe around. Yeah. You cast some spells to heal yourselves. That takes you, let's say, 2 or 3 rounds. We're talking about the blink, well, not the blink of an eye, but 18 seconds, something like that. And then you jog down towards the smokehouse. When you get there, you find that the battle is over. There is a creature. It looks like it has basically barreled its way through the town. It's a giant, oily, surfaced. I don't know how to describe this thing.
Elemental.
Why don't we look at it in a different way? You run up towards the smokehouse, and there is a creature that's basically seems to have, as it were, kind of impacted itself into the ground and crashed like a sort of crashed airliner into the side of the smokehouse. Yeah. Standing around it are some of the members of the garrison, keeping people back, and standing a little bit closer to you. Are a couple of figures. One of them is is Hesty. He's eating what looks like a clementine, and sort of looks mildly sort of discombobulated, but otherwise fine. And next to him is another figure. Johnny, why don't you describe the figure that's standing next to Hesty?
He's well built, stocky, almost like a dwarf.
Yeah,
but he's not a dwarf.
But he's not a dwarf.
What is he?
He's a hobbit. He's about 60 years old, and
there are copyright issues with that, but he's a halfling.
He looks like halfling. He's a barbarian basically. So he looks wild. He's got
and he's 60-year-old
rapier in each
halfling
hand.
barbarian.
Yeah, and he's munching a sandwich that Hesty's just offered him.
Yeah, Hesty's famous for his sandwiches. Yep.
And he looks quite tired. He looks like he's just come out of a rage after fighting this thing.
And you've been firing your bow at it?
Yeah, firing my bow, and then I guess I did some hand-to-hander.
Hesty is very excited to see you all as you walk towards him.
Yes.
Oh!
Is he still wearing his dressing gown?
He is. He's wearing the dressing gown. Yeah. Well, he looks like he's been kind of disturbed. I mean, not in the dressing gown, right? I mean, that's all fine. Yeah. Bug on food, he says, as you kind of get closer to him. What on earth was that thing? Some sort of aberration, I would imagine. Maybe a little bit like you, Cuthbert.
I don't know what you mean.
Some sort of aspect, some sort of projection of the, I don't know, whatever. Where is Grimbold?
Yeah, where's Grimbold? The halfling says, Grimbold! Hey, Sessions!
Cousin Grimbold sadly passed.
Dan,
I'm sorry.
You're holding the haversack. You're just going to throw it on the ground.
Yeah, Parker killed him and took his body.
We had to bring him back to bury him.
Now we won't
Very sad. Uncle Bugruff.
Well, are there any possessions I can pass on to the next of kin?
Oh, this is a
He
tragedy.
lived his life as a pauper.
What happened to him?
I'm sure he must have had some magical items that I can pass on to his next of kin.
Bugraft, please, still yourself. Yes? Have some respect.
Oh, sorry.
Tell me, what happened to him?
He was killed by a roper.
He was killed by a roper.
Oh, dear, that
Defending
is a
this magnificent orrery.
orrery.
Orrery thing? That was his possession.
Is somebody holding it up?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I think Lucas,
He died for that.
probably now has it because it's in the backpack.
Yes.
It smells a bit now because it's been in there with.
That was his most treasured possession.
So what are you doing? Are you pulling Grimbold's body out of this haversack?
Ever so carefully.
Ah, dear. And this orrery, he died for that funny little trinket.
He was a funny little man.
He was a funny little man. You're right, Sessions. You're absolutely right. Anyway,
He's
I
my
haven't got time
cousin.
He's your nephew. He's my cousin.
Nephew, beg your pardon.
My cousin, your nephew.
My
Anyway,
nephew,
he's
of course. I'm his uncle. My nephew. This is that's sad.
What is this? Who do you think you are? Let's move on.
But I'll take the orrery. Yes, that's what his possession was.
He left his possessions to
you'll
his
take
friends.
it.
Any other
uncle.
possessions? Gold
No.
pieces or?
He hadn't spoken to you in years. He left it to his close friends. If he'd had anything, he would have.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that any of you really understand Grimbold's final wishes. I suspect they would be less charitable.
Right.
Segment? He offers a bit of clementine to you, Berthel.
Oh, thank you very much.
Segment?
Where are these? Where are these from?
I grow them in my
I like them. Nice,
garden.
tangy.
Now, Mr. Bugraft here. Well, first of all, we must think about how to solemnly memorialise young Grimbold.
Yes.
In a not ridiculous ceremony.
Bury
that
him.
everybody takes seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is there a
and
priest?
There's a real, genuine,
That would be
somber
me.
role-playing moment
Someone who can do raise
in our
dead.
otherwise ridiculous adventure.
Can anybody do raise dead?
Oh, I don't think that's rather beyond us, I'm afraid,
yet.
Bugraft.
I don't think he's got a head, if I remember rightly.
His face was.
His face does seem to have
I
been.
think the roper.
Anyway,
yes.
so this orrery, tell me about it.
It's
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 an
an
orrery.
orrery.
It's got planets on it.
It doesn't seem to be in full working order.
No.
There's some bits as well here.
Okay, well, maybe I can fix it. I shall tinker with your spheres if I get the chance later.
So should we tell him
I
what
look
actually?
forward to it.
Let's tell
Now,
him.
tell me about what you found in the mine.
So let's tell him what we found.
Okay,
in the
so
mine.
there's the three gods.
Yes, the
The
Ebon
Ebon
Triad.
Triad.
Ebon
We found them all.
Ebon
Yes,
Triad, yeah. And they
Yeah.
basically have representatives on this earth, and
Yes,
we
yes.
basically encountered them in
And tell me
a
about
sort of
these three-
underground area,
Yes.
in the middle of which was a pool with a sort
Yes.
of black
Brown mould, according to
metallic,
Grimbold.
black metallic pool. Not
Like this.
Not
He points
unlike
at this-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he points at the creature. It's like the aberration.
Yes.
When he does so, and you're looking at it, there's a sort of... and it sort of shivers this thing. It's clearly been destroyed or defeated. But it sort of goes... and suddenly it's surrounded by little aspects of the Grey Woodsman that then suddenly vanish. It's got 3 arms and 3 legs. It's huge, and its nose first into the ground in the side of Smenk's house. So
Where did this
you think
appear?
that well, it just ran into town about. Let me have a look now. Let me just give me a second here. Yes, about 20
minutes ago, yeah.
Minutes ago, yes.
How did it get out of the mine?
So what we think happened?
Well, I mean, I don't know how it got out of the mine, Bugraft. How do you know about the mine, Bugraft? You're acting almost as if you were Grimbold, the dead character. I don't know how it got out of the mine, but it was clearly capable of leaping and jumping and climbing at a prodigious rate.
So we need to explain to Hesty what we saw down the mine.
Going to give Hesty the scrolls and the notes.
Yes, can you read the?
Yes.
Oh,
read
very
the-
interesting, very interesting. Yes, absolutely fascinating.
We'll just basically
material about
brief
the
him.
Ebon Triad.
Yes, the Ebon Triad. We think that basically the god has been kind of activated, but in a weakened state because it was activated before it should have been.
The pool that you described. Yes, yes. So the triad, the cult underneath the Dowerstone mine, something down there, perhaps as part of your conflict with them, gave rise to this aberration, this being, this aspect of the 3 gods, the 3 wicked gods. Yes, yes. I understand that. Now, another segment.
Yes, please. I'll have one.
It's very good, isn't it? Very juicy, very juicy.
They're quite tangy, aren't they?
Delicious. They are tangy. They are.
I like
Gets
them
caught
tangy.
between the gets caught between the teeth, though, doesn't it? There's the little bits of pith.
Yes.
Gets caught between the. Do you ever have bits of pith caught between your teeth?
I do, and other things.
What you do at the weekend is your own business, anyway, Bevel. Now let's move on. So,
Is there a haberdashers in town?
a haberdashers.
Well, Bertle's got some money now. Doesn't need to be living in the bin.
We haven't got time, I'm afraid, Berple, for haberdashery.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
Going up. Bugraft here has brought me some disturbing news. Bugraft, would you like to tell me your news, please?
Yes, let me just read the notes. Yeah, actually, I think Bugraft is not the brightest. You suspect,
Much like his nephew.
much like his nephew, he's kind of
Typecasting.
maxed out on different things.
Yeah, well, I've
In your own time, Bugraft.
Marzina, the sorceress, the battle sorceress at Blackwall Keep, has sent me to seek out Hesty. She needs help. There are strange undead in the hills. The undead infested with evil green worms that seem to spread necrotic infection. I have encountered such evil things myself. Once in the mountains, I saw some ghouls feasting on a rotten deer carcass, and they were infected with this green worm thing. Anyway, we need to go and help Marzina.
These are the same worms that we found in the jar.
We need to.
Yes, this is right,
encourage
Bugraft. You're right.
Hesty, you're coming with us, aren't you?
Yes.
Sorry, where are we going?
Marzana is
Go
an
to
old friend of
Blackwall
mine.
Keep.
Yes, Bugraft is not very good at explaining himself. Blackwall Keep, as you all know, sits at the northern edge of the Mist Marsh. And there have been reports that in the Cairn Hills between us and Blackwall Keep, there have been these very disturbing reports of strange undead green worms. Many of the things that you've been finding in your adventures so far. Anyway, Marzana is an old friend of mine, and she has asked Bugraft here. Bugraft, you don't mind if I speak for you, do you? But you aren't very articulate.
Well, she's also worried about the lizard men, I believe. Yes.
Well, they're always a trouble. I mean, they do resent the presence of the keep and Even Star's troops there. Yes, they do.
Yes.
In any case, we must head there as fast as possible. She feels that she is so sufficiently worried about these reports that she wishes that I visit her. Now, it is not an easy journey. It's not too far. It's 2 days hike.
I know
across the
somewhere
Cairn
we
Hills.
can stop on the way.
The Garm Farm?
The Garm Farm.
Well, the Garm Farm.
The Garm Farm. How did you
The
know?
Garm Farm? Oh, well, I'm familiar with these places. Garm's Farm is abandoned many years ago, but it would make a convenient rest point, somewhere for us to stay overnight on our journey to Blackwall Keep.
Are you coming too?
Yes, well, no. I am. This is rather the point, Parker.
Yeah, he's going. We're escorting him.
Exactly. I must travel to Blackwall Keep, Parker, and you must accompany me because it is not a journey without peril. Bugraft here is a master of the territories between here and
we
there.
need to set off
and
soon, otherwise we'll not get there before nightfall. So please hurry up, eating your orange and get a move on.
Bugraft is correct. We must organise ourselves now. I can organise now, and he sort of snaps his fingers. The garrison people, the soldiers. One of them wanders over. There are some lieutenants. Tolliver Trask is the master of the garrison. Yeah, so he is the Blackwall Keep is a fortress on the northern edge of the Mist Marsh, which is a couple of days' ride over the hills from you, and it's garrisoned by troops from Evenstar, just like the garrison is here. The master of the garrison here is Tolliver Trask, who you've never encountered. 3 of his lieutenants are kind of keeping people back. There are some casualties amongst the garrison, the soldiers, and some civilians, and they're keeping people back from this sort of combat scene. Trovost is the lieutenant who comes up. Hesty kind of beckons him over. Trovost, I need mules and supplies for a 2-day trek to Blackwall Keep. Can you organise those, please? Trovost runs off, and with Hesty's bidding, all of the requisite items are kind of summoned for your journey. Plus, it has to be said, a rather potentially kind of non-proportionally enormous travelling trunk for Hesty, which
we need to get some
probably includes clothes,
tobacco, pipeweed.
Absolutely. Quickly, come back. We need tobacco as well while you're there. Thank you. Yes. And you can assemble all of the stuff that you need. And Bugraft, you're absolutely adamant that you need to get moving as soon as possible.
Get a move on.
Okay. It's sort of late morning.
How long does it take them to summon all of this stuff, to gather all this stuff?
It probably takes about half an hour to get everything together. Is there something you want to do?
Yeah, rest.
So we need to get a short rest in.
Some kind of rest.
Well, you'll have to persuade Hesty that you need to wait for another half. Well, or Bugraft, in fact. Bugraft is the person you need to persuade.
If we're walking.
No, let's move on.
No, we're resting.
You can rest while you're walking, can't you? Do a short rest.
No,
It's not Or sit on a...
If you get us a cart to ride in, then maybe. But otherwise, we need a rest.
Okay, I'm worried about being
What
out
are you
in the
worried about,
open.
Unk?
Oh, Sessions, yes. I didn't. Haven't you grown?
I have.
Not very much. But,
Well,
you're a
no.
hobbit.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not going to do that. I can remember when you were this high.
Yes, I was going to say that next. Well, I'm worried that of the creatures out in the night, if we don't get to this farm.
Well, let's go then.
But aren't you a tough barbarian, Uncle?
Yes, I am.
So we should be safe.
I mean, he looks a bit old.
Yeah. Old and crumbly, but I'm sure he's good.
Experienced.
Wiry.
Not wiry. I'm
Smelly. We're taking a short rest at the very least. So we're delaying by at least half an hour. What do we think about a long rest?
Well, presumably we can long rest when we get to this first
Yes.
post.
Yeah.
That's safe, right, where we're going to.
So you need to rest before we leave.
Yes.
I think you've got time for Buggraft.
We need to go. We need to go. A short rest will be
Have they
fine,
got-
but
have-
not a long rest.
Okay, a short rest in rule terms or a short rest in sort of fantasy discussion terms?
Pass.
I think we have time for a short rest. Well, we organise supplies for our journey, but we must move who are to make is it Garm Farm, Buggraft?
Yes, Garm Farm. That's right.
Garm Farm, yes. If we're to make it for nightfall, we must leave soon. So you yes, of course, you must recuperate, but we must move within the hour. Let's give ourselves an hour to organise ourselves, and then we can move.
So we'll take a short rest. Are we allowed to take a hit dice heal during a short rest?
Yeah, as
Yes,
many
you take as
hit
many as
dice
you
as
like.
you wish.
They don't top back up again until you take a long rest, but you can take as many of your hit dice. So you can roll 3d8 and 2d10.
That's right. Brilliant. Well, that's given me my second wind. Thank you.
That to happen.
And action surge. Back. Ooh.
Action surge, Paul. Isn't that the French equivalent of G.I. Joe?
No.
Bale of straw.
Another
Silence.
great failed attempt at that joke.
It's a great.
Rubbish joke.
So I'm going to show you the map now of the area that you're in. This is the area known as the Hinterlands or the Protectorate. It's about, the map we're looking at is about 80, maybe a little bit more than 80 miles across in both directions, more east to west. And you can see in the center, you can see Diamond Lake with the town of Diamond Lake nestling against its shore. Running and ranging to your northeast of the Cairn Hills, in which is set the Whispering Cairn and the Twilight Monastery and the town of Elmshire, which is nestling at in the foothills of what are called the Newell Mountains, which are a great range of mountains that run from the south to the north and effectively divide your world up. Yes, you don't know very much about the lands beyond the Newell Mountains. They're called they're called the 39 Steps. Which is a reference to when this giant kind of tundra area was broken up into myriad little fiefdoms and kingdoms and tribal holdings. We've got to roll a dice here. We had a poll about who rules the 39 Steps on Twitter. Yep. And it was even Stevens. So I'm going to roll a dice, and I will tell you, as a result of that dice roll, who rules the 39 Steps east of the Newell Mountains.
Oh, 6.
It is 6. That means that it is the Frog Wizards of Bonts, and I can tell you that as a result of the end of the kind of anarchic situation east of the Newell Mountains in the 39 Steps, the Frog Wizards of Bonts, who practice amphibiancy, which is like kind of the chaos magic of amphibians. That's what's driven many kind of raiding parties over the Newell Mountains into the Cairn Hills. Bugbears, orcs, gnolls,
Hamsters.
So they're known for their
hamsters, you
amphibimancers.
They're amphibians.
They're
That's right.
amphibimancers.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah, so in between Diamond Lake and Evenstar, there is a sort of corridor of civilization. Snoot Hortling, Lug, Hooby's Point, Wafflebugger, Murder on the Marsh
are the little towns that dot the course of the river that runs between Diamond Lake and Evenstar. And that river tips over the edge of the barrier cliffs and down into the lands that wait. Your journey is taking you east around the end of Diamond Lake and then south over the hills and across the skirting the northern edge of the Mist Marsh to Blackwall Keep.
Right.
Yep. Okie doke.
Okay.
Once you've had your short rest, you've got yourselves organised, and Trovos has assembled the requisite travelling gear. You set off. Snowmelt and rain have made the road heavy going, but as you climb away from town and you get onto higher, stonier ground, the track dries out somewhat. At first, you follow the old company road towards the Whispering Cairn, but just past the old land homestead, you take the road that follows the lakeshore, and after a few hours you have rounded the eastern end of the lake and climbed steeply south into the hills, following the course of a fast-flowing stream. Pine forest closes around you. The looming trees and the low cloud bring an early twilight, and Hesty utters a quick incantation, and a were-light gutters into life on the tip of his staff. The tip of his staff. It is not long before your lights are the only illumination, and the forest is a dark mystery on all sides. The drizzle is cold and relentless. Sometimes, over the rushing of the water beside you, you think you hear the sound of movement, the breaking of branches and the occasional low, guttural cry out in the blackness. And then, all of a sudden, the road crests a low rise, and you climb free of the trees. You can see a warm, flickering light ahead. The Garm farm must be just ahead, and some other travellers must have lit torches, maybe a bonfire. The sight warms you, and you feel your pace pick up on the anticipation of shelter, until you realise that is no bonfire. That is the farm itself set ablaze, and you can see figures silhouetted by the flames, and the night breeze carries the howls of creature, a sound that Bugraft knows all too well.
Bugbears.
We'll pick it up next time.
Oh, just getting into that.
Yeah. Sorry, quick question. Did we bury Grimbold before we left?
No, so he's still in the haversack. No.
I mean,
no,
really?
No, still in the haversack. You can have a funeral for him later.
I mean, or we could just dump him somewhere.
No, we can open up next week with somebody with a realisation that Grimbold was still in the backpack.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. Encounter at Blackwall Keep and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. Encounter at Blackwall Keep was written by Sean K. Reynolds. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening.